NBA Fantasy Salary Cap Edition, Week 17 Preview. Everything you need to know heading into Week 17 of NBA Fantasy Salary Cap Edition. What's up, NBA Fantasy Managers? Welcome back to the channel. With the NBA All-Star break just around the corner, Week 17 of the NBA Fantasy Salary Cap Edition is shaping up to be a critical week for your roster. Whether you're gearing up for a big push or looking to take advantage of some fresh trades, there's a lot to unpack. So, in today's video we're diving into everything you need to know to maximize your points and make smart moves for the week ahead. From familiar faces and unfamiliar places to transaction targets and weekly advice, we've got you covered. Let's get into it. First up, we've got some big trade moves that shook things up for several fantasy rosters, starting with De'Aaron Fox, now with the San Antonio Spurs. Fox has joined forces with rookie sensation Victor Wembanyama in a new-look San Antonio squad. His fantasy production isn't flashy, but Fox is one of the most reliable players around, with 35-plus fantasy points in 35 games this season. After the trade, Fox made an immediate impact, posting 57.5 and 45.4 fantasy points in his first two games with the Spurs. He's now one of 19 players with over 2,000 total fantasy points this season, so if you've got him, you're looking at some solid returns. Keep an eye on him for the remainder of the season. Next up, we've got Zach LaVine, who's been traded to the Sacramento Kings. Sacramento still has Domantas Sabonis putting up massive numbers, but now with LaVine on the roster, he's quickly become one of their most valuable fantasy assets. Over his first few games, LaVine's production has gone up from 20.7 to 31.3, and in his last 3 games, he's averaged over 33 fantasy points. His ability to score and contribute across the board will only make Sacramento's offense more dangerous, and that's great news for your fantasy lineup. Moving on to Jimmy Butler, who's now with the Golden State Warriors. Butler hasn't been the most consistent player this season due to injuries, but his debut with Golden State showed some real potential. He teamed up with Stephen Curry for a combined 59 points, and Butler himself contributed a solid 38.4 fantasy points in his first game. If Butler stays healthy, we could see some huge performances from him alongside Curry. Now, let's talk about transaction targets for Week 17. If you're looking to make moves on the waiver wire or trades, start by focusing on players from the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers have been on a hot streak, winning 9 of their last 10 games, and they've got a couple of favorable matchups against the Utah Jazz coming up. If you're looking to add a star, Luka Doncic will make his Lakers debut, and while he comes with a hefty price tag of $18.9 million, his playmaking ability could lead to big nights for supporting players like Rui Hachimura and Jackson Hayes. Speaking of Rui Hachimura, he's been on a tear lately, posting 30-plus fantasy points in 4 of his last 5 games. Hachimura has been more consistent than usual, and with the Lakers roster shakeup, he could see even more opportunity. And don't sleep on Jackson Hayes. With Anthony Davis gone, Hayes could play a significant role in the middle for LA. At his price point, he could provide great value for your roster. Looking ahead to Week 17, it's the perfect time to assess your roster and figure out where to make improvements. The All-Star break is almost here, and if you're thinking about maximizing your value, make sure you're looking at players who are consistently producing above their salary. For example, Lauri Markkanen, Terry Rozier, and Keldon Johnson have all been underperforming relative to their salaries, so it might be time to move on from them. Markkanen, despite having decent stats, just isn't returning enough fantasy points at his price. On the flip side, Yves Missi, Goga Bitadze, and Christian Braun are high-value players under $7 million who are regularly outperforming expectations. These guys could be fantastic options to boost your roster without breaking the bank. And that's your Week 17 preview for the NBA Fantasy Salary Cap Edition. The trade deadline has shaken things up, and now it's all about how you adjust your roster to take advantage of the new opportunities. If you're looking to make a big splash, keep an eye on those transaction targets, and remember to assess your team's value as we head into the All-Star break. If you found this video helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a fantasy tip or analysis. Drop a comment below and let me know how you're adjusting your lineup for Week 17. Good luck out there, fantasy managers. Let's make Week 17 a big one. I'll see you in the next video.